welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a pregnancy Q&A. When I announced my pregnancy over on Instagram, everybody kind of went crazy, which was really nice actually. It was like kind of overwhelming. My pregnancy announcement post was like the most post I've ever had on my Instagram page. I was like, didn't realise people were going to be this happy about me having a baby. So it was kind of strange, but it was kind of cool at the same time. So thank you so much for all of that. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe if you haven't already. Shortly after I did the announcement post, I did another post to see whether you guys had any questions. And obviously the number one question was, when are you due? Which I am keeping to myself for now. But I literally had like over 400 questions. I've got them on my phone. And I'm literally just going to go through them and answer them. I kind of tried to pick the ones that were most asked just so that I could address like the big ones, if that makes sense. I haven't obviously done all of them because literally this video would be like 100 years long if I did. Okay, maybe not 100 years, but you know what I mean. I don't know why I'm exaggerating so much today. Anyways, let's go on with the questions. I don't know if I'm going to do this as like a flow through of me talking or chop bits up so that the questions make sense, because obviously different people have asked them, so they're in different orders. I don't know. Anyways. Okay, so what if you have twins, inshallah, what would you call them? I'm not having twins. We did think we were going to have twins at one point. It's not twins. But if I had twin boys, I would call them Adam and Noah. I just think that's so cute. I just think that those two names. And literally, I would literally do everything, like all animals and like a ship and everything, like in the nursery. I already said this to Fazan, like when we thought we were going to have twins. I was like, oh my God, how cool would that be? Because obviously Fazan is a twin, he has a twin brother as well, which is one of the reasons why we were like, oh my God, we're having twins. And plus my belly was huge. If it was twin girls, I really don't want to share these names because I love them so much, but I really like the names Aoife and Aya. I just think they're so cute, especially together. And if it was a boy and a girl, I think we'd go with Adam and Aoife. Well, this is what I would do. I don't think Fazan would necessarily agree with me. I think Fazan has a completely different idea of the names that he wants, but they're the names that I want. How did you tell your husband? It's so funny, like in my head, I always imagine like, yeah, when I get pregnant, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. Like, you know, you see like all these cute ideas on Pinterest and Tumblr and stuff and like movies. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to like put the pregnancy test like in a little box and give it to him. Or, you know, like get a little baby hat that says dad or something like that. None of that happened, guys. Literally, I found out, it was like 9 o'clock in the morning when I found out, or 8 o'clock, like it was really early in the morning. I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and do a test. And he was still asleep. And I was like, oh, I'll tell him later, I'll tell him when he wakes up. Clearly, I have no patience. I snuck back into bed and I was like, whispered in his ear. Like the most unoriginal, uncool way ever. I was like, we're having a baby. Top boys' names and top girls' names. And if you had twins, what would they be called? So I've already gone through the twins bit. To be honest, the top boys' names and the top girls' names that I like are already taken. Like, I've got a huge family, so does Susanna, and it's really difficult to find a name that we both want. And that has a good meaning that hasn't already been taken. Like, for example, for a girl, I really wanted Khadija. But my little niece is called Khadija, and Fazan's got two nieces called Khadija. And I wanted, what else did I like? I really like Fatima. But my best friend's niece is called Fatima, and she's also Fazan's cousin's granddaughter. So like basically, yeah. Also, we already got Fatima, so we can't use that. Aisha, we liked Aisha, but one of my best friends is called Aisha. My cousin is called Aisha. So it gets really difficult. I think it's good to have a really original Islamic name, and I think the meaning of the name is so important, but it's so hard because when you have a huge family, somebody's really taken the name. For boys, I really liked Rahan. I've always liked Rahan. And then when my nephew was born, like, I think he's 6 now. Is he 5? Is he 6? And my cousin named him Rahan, and I was like, please don't do this to me. At the time I was like, I'm still going to name my baby Rahan, but obviously now I won't, because like he's such a huge part of my life that it would be really weird if my son, if I have a son, it was called Rahan and then he's called Rahan. How did you feel when you first found out you were expecting? I don't know, I can't actually remember. Like, I think at first I was just a bit like, I think it took a while to sink in just because it was like a little bit unexpected, and I honestly did the test and thought, yeah, everything's gonna be fine, and then like it came up with, I'll go through the story because I think the question is further along. Somebody's asked for the whole story about what happened, but when I did the test and it obviously came out positive, I was a bit like, oh, like it took a while. I think it took like at least a week or 2 weeks for it to sink in. I was obviously excited, but I think I was more nervous than anything else, because just suddenly something so huge is going to happen. And I'm like, I plan everything down to the last detail. I'm like such a planner. I'm such a control freak. And this basically threw everything off. So I was like, ah. Whereas Fazan is like super relaxed. He's just so chilled. That he was just like, he wanted a baby anyway. So he was like obviously over the moon. But it was very, very different for both of us, I guess. Somebody said, mashallah, congrats to you both. May Allah bless you with a healthy baby. I wanted to ask, how did you go desert safari in Dubai if you were pregnant? And then somebody said she didn't, her husband went alone. The only reason I included the bottom comment, I shouldn't have included it, but the only reason I included it is to show you guys, I hate it when people do this on Instagram. Like, you don't know what has or hasn't happened. Why do you just assume? Like, there's people commenting going, yeah, she's having twins, I know she's having twins, or she's having a boy, or I know she's having a girl. I'm like, how can you know? Somebody even commented to say she's not even pregnant. I was like, have you been up my womb to know what is in there, love? They were really, really, to be honest, before I never used to get bothered, but ever since I got pregnant, my hormones are all over the place and I get really, really ratty. But in terms of the desert safari, yes, I did go on the desert safari in Dubai. You can do it if you're pregnant. You can still do the whole experience. You just can't do the dune bashing. I guess you could do it if it was like, if they were going really slowly, but then it's not fun for everybody else in the car. So I got out when they did the dune bashing, but I did everything else. Did you, or are you getting any sickness or anything? I was not prepared. I was not prepared in the slightest for morning sickness. And not just morning sickness, the constant nausea. Like, literally was 24 hours a day, guys. Like, it's one of the reasons that I got so depressed, because it's like, it's crippling. I couldn't do anything. It wasn't bad to begin with. And it just like, I think from about 6 or 7 weeks, maybe a little bit further than that, till about 4.5 months, till about 16 weeks, I reckon, it just got really bad. And it was really hard for me because everybody kept saying, oh, don't worry, after you hit your second trimester, it's gonna be over with. And it just wasn't. And I was just constantly sick every single morning, sometimes like all the way up until lunchtime I'd be being sick. And then when I wasn't sick, I just felt sick. I always just had this horrible taste in my mouth. Nothing, you guys know how much I love my food, absolutely love my food. Nothing I ate tasted right. There was so many times where I'd have food in front of me, I really, really wanted it, went to eat it, and it just tasted horrible, and I just felt sick, and I just couldn't eat. And it just made me so miserable because I didn't want to go out anywhere, I didn't want to do anything. And along with the sickness, I got really, really bad fatigue as well, where I was just so tired. I think it's hard because when you're so early on pregnant, you obviously don't in your head acknowledge, like, it's hard because the baby's so small, so you don't think that there's a baby in there and you can't see it, so most people don't know that you're pregnant or that you're expecting, and then you just feel so rubbish, and like you don't really know why you feel rubbish, and it's just, yeah, it's hard because you're so tired, you need to rest because your body's growing a baby, but at the same time, because you can't see anything and you can't really feel anything in your tummy, it doesn't all fit in together. So it was a really, really difficult period. What's been the most difficult thing about your pregnancy so far, and how has your life changed? She's got some more questions, but I'll just answer that one. The most difficult thing was the sickness and the fatigue. It was just, and that's what caused, I got quite bad antenatal depression as well, because I wasn't going out. Like, my friends would ring me, I wouldn't answer, my cousins would tell me to come over, I'd go and sit for 5 minutes and then go home, and I've never been that person. You know, I grew up around my cousins, we would literally all stay together all the time, but I'd be there for 5 minutes and I'd be like, you know what, I'd much rather just be at home in bed. When I was at home, I was just upstairs in bed all the time, literally on my own as well. Like, to begin with, Fazan was really good and like he'd stay in and stuff, and then after a while I just thought, like, this is really horrible, like I'm stopping him from socialising as well. So at the weekends or in the evenings I'd be like, just go do whatever. So I was literally on my own, at work all day, come home in the evening, maybe have something to eat, put on Friends, and literally, or Game of Thrones. I watched a lot of Game of Thrones. And literally just fall asleep. And that was literally my pattern for at least, I reckon, a good 2 months. And it's really horrible because after a while, it just gets really lonely and your body's going through all these changes and your hormones are all over the place, and yeah, it was horrible. I think that was the hardest thing. Alhamdulillah, like, it's a lot better now. I still do have days where I'm really emotional. I think yesterday, was it yesterday or was it Wednesday? I was just crying. I was crying over everything, and it seems stupid now when I look back at it, but when you're in that moment, you just can't control it. It just hurts so much, and you just feel so crap. But yeah, I think I'm kind of through the worst. Actually, if you guys want to see a whole video on kind of my experience with feeling like isolated or down, or you know, antenatal depression, then let me know. That's something that I might film, just because when I posted about it on Instagram, you guys would not believe the number of messages I got. Like, I feel like everybody goes through it and nobody talks about it. But that's how many messages I got. I was literally bombarded with messages. And that's one of the things. I'm really vocal. I'm really quite out there with who I am as a person and how I feel. I don't hide it. I've never tried to hide it. So I was really open when I said, yeah, I'm feeling like this, or you know, I'm not excited, or I'm not as happy as I should be. And it shocked me the amount of women who have kids who turned around to me and said, you know what, I was exactly the same. And yet our society makes us feel like, you know, we should be feeling a certain way, and if we don't feel that way, then we're going to be bad mothers, or we are bad mothers, or we're ungrateful as women that we've got this blessing. So yeah, anyways, if you guys want to see a video on that, let me know, because otherwise I'll just end up rambling in this video. What foods do you crave, and is ice cream one of them? No, ice cream isn't one of them. I don't crave anything at the moment. At the moment, what tends to happen is I will either see somebody eating something, or I'll smell something, or someone will mention a certain type of food. Like, my friend came over today and she talked about carrot and coriander soup, and I was like, oh my god, I want that. Like, I'm just a fatty. Like, anytime somebody mentions a certain food, I want it, but no specific cravings. My first trimester, I craved a lot of sour things, and I also craved a lot of food, and I said this to Fazan, it was quite strange. I craved a lot of food that I had when I was younger, like as a kid. So guava, I craved a lot of fresh guava, and I used to eat that in Pakistan, fresh from my nani's like tree, and it was actually quite good because my mum was in Pakistan at the time, so she sent me some over, so I had some, and we managed to get some from the local Asian store as well. And I took them into work, and nobody at work had actually ever tried guava before, so it was quite cool to like share that with them. Guava cut with salt. Also liked red split lentil curry on boiled rice. I used to love that as a kid. I wanted a lot of that. Plain mash, wanted a lot of that. Or the other thing, like when me and my brother were younger, my mum used to make us like these, they were like pizza bread. It was like just bread with, well, it didn't have sauce on it, so I guess it's not pizza. It was like just toasted bread with like cheese, sweet corn and onion on it. Craved a lot of that as well. So really quite basic foods. I guess it was the only thing my stomach could handle at the time, just because I was so sick. Just bland stuff. Who do you think is going to be the stricter parent? I think it's going to have to be me. I don't want to be. I think it's going to have to be me, just because if you ever see Fazan and ever see the way he is with his nephews and nieces, or with my nephews and nieces, he's just a big kid. He's an absolute big kid. I don't know if you guys can hear him coughing in the other room right now. He's just an absolute big kid, and I just think, I always thought he would be the stricter one, but I don't think he will be. I think he might be stricter in terms of having certain rules in place, and maybe things I will allow that he might not. But in terms of discipline, I think it's definitely going to have to be me. He's just going to be like, yeah, just let the kid do whatever. Just let the kid do whatever. Will you show your baby on social media, or will you wait until they're old enough to decide for themselves? For me personally, I have no issue putting a baby up on social media. I know a lot of people do, and they hide their face and stuff. That being said, I don't think I will, just because pretty much everybody around me has already said to me, don't do it. Fazan's obviously said, look, I don't want pictures of the baby on social media. I'm like, what if I hide the face? What if it's just like the feet or the back of the head or something like that? So I'm like trying to find ways around it. So if he's not happy with it, my mum's already said don't put pictures. A few of my friends already said like don't put pictures. So we'll see what happens. I probably won't. I probably will, but like little shots, if that makes sense, or like with the face hidden. What do you think will be the most exciting and most scary thing about motherhood? For me, the most exciting part, I think, is like just having somebody to play with and to do fun things with. Like I say, because I'm a big kid, but I'm a big kid as well. Like I love it when my nephews and nieces come over and we do things and we make like, we play with their dolls' houses, or when we go out and I take them to the park, or just days out. So things like that, when the baby's obviously a little bit older, that's what I'm really excited to do. Like days at the, sorry, I got an itchy nose. Like days at the zoo or days at the museum or things like that. Like I'm excited to do stuff like that, which will probably come when they're a little bit older. The most scary thing for me is being responsible for somebody else. Like I don't feel like I'm responsible enough for myself, let alone a husband, let alone a child. So I think that's going to be the hardest obstacle for me to overcome, because like right now, and I was saying this to Fazan, we get up and do whatever we like, whenever we like. And there isn't really any boundaries or any restrictions in place, because we just make our own decisions. But when you have a child, you can't just wake up at 12 o'clock in the afternoon and do what you want for the day, or not do anything for the day. Do you want to help me answer this question?
Answer what question?
This question that somebody asked, because I think your input might be quite good.
My input?
Yeah. The question is, how did you cope with morning sickness and mood swings, and how did your hubby cope? Shut the door to your TV.
How did I cope? I used to pretend like I was sleeping.
No, like even now I have days literally where I actually, you know, the first few times I got morning sickness, you didn't care.
Didn't I?
No, you didn't. I just remembered that, and I was really sad about that, because I was like, oh, you should have got up and like rubbed my back or got me something. I was like really sad. And then it took you a while to like know what to do or what to say when I was feeling like that, because with the morning sickness I would get like really sweaty and hot and feel faint as well. I wasn't just being sick. With the mood swings, I still get the mood swings now actually. Some days I just get out of bed the wrong side and he's like asking me what's wrong, and I'm just like, oh, shut up. God.
One of these days I'm gonna give you a I swear to God.
Alright, so how do you feel like you cope with the morning sickness and with my mood swings? Oh, actually, one thing I haven't mentioned, which was really bad in the first trimester, was I couldn't stand the smell of him. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That offended you, didn't it?
Not really.
It did, because I could see it on your face sometimes where you'd be like, oh, you just told me I stink all the time. Like, literally, I don't know what it was. Like, it was just...
I'd have a shower and come out and say things.
Just the smell of him. I just didn't want him anywhere near me. And sometimes he'd be, like, sat there and he would be, like, breathing, and I'd be like, oh my God, just stop fucking breathing. I used to get so annoyed at you. I'm so glad that phase is over. But yeah, do you want to input anything, or do you want to just leave?
I don't know.
Do you want to come in? Have you started preparing for the baby's arrival? So we tried to do this like last week-ish, or was it the week before? Well, we went out and we got some stuff. We got like some baby vests and some baby grows and some mittens and hats and bibs and things like that. I didn't want to get too much too early. Like I want to wait until next year to start getting stuff. I just feel like it's way too early right now. And then I told my mum, and she was like, did you get nappies? And I was like, no. She's like, did you get breast pads? I was like, no. She's like, did you get maternity pads? I was like, no. So she's like, you didn't really get anything apart from baby clothes, did you? And I was like, no. So I think I just wanted to go shopping basically, and because I couldn't justify buying anything for myself, I just bought stuff for the baby. Would you continue YouTube after you give birth? Yes, I probably will still carry, well, yeah, obviously we'll carry on filming unless obviously something really horrible happens, which inshallah it doesn't. I don't see like why having a baby should stop me from doing this, because I could literally just put the baby there and hopefully it won't cry. You know, in my head, guys, I'm not ready. I don't think I'm ready. I'm like not prepared for how hard it's gonna be. I really think everything's just gonna go back to normal. Who would you like the little one to look like, you or hubby? Definitely my husband. He was just so cute when he was little. He was just so cute. I might just put in pictures of me and Fazan when we were little here actually, just for the sake of it, you know, why not? How was the scan? Have you had any cravings? So I've answered the cravings question already. With the scan, it was quite cool actually. It was nice. I think the thing that really got to me at the scan was when I saw the heartbeat and I literally could see it pulsing. I was like, wow, like that is, you don't register it because you can't see it, and especially at the 12 week scan, you don't really have a belly or anything. You don't feel the baby move, like nothing is happening. So when you see the scan for the first time, it's like, oh my God, this is real. This is actually real. Okay, that's it for today, guys. I have answered quite a few questions, I think. If there is any more, leave them down below and I will try and answer them. A lot of the questions that I got on the picture were literally these ones phrased in different ways. So hopefully I've covered everything. But if you do have any further questions, leave them down below and I will answer them. If you guys want to see the video on depression that I was talking about, let me know. I can film that as well. And if there's any other pregnancy related videos, I might start doing them like maybe once a month. I don't want to do them too much. But maybe once a month or something. So let me know below, and otherwise I'll see you all soon, inshallah.